Apologies people, I've made a start without you. Anyway, all this corrosion has come out of here, and this, with that little hole in there, is what is on the spool control valve. So we can see down in there how that's all corroded. Need to get that clean as best we can. We have to take the other one off as well, because the problem I have is, and it's been like this for years, I've just never done anything with it. That one works, that one goes that way, it's tight, but won't go that way. So I'm guessing that in here is full of corrosion too, because as soon as I took the cap off, don't know how well you can see, where is it? There it is. As soon as I took the cap off, that moved, but won't go the other way. So might all be corrosion inside the thing, but I'm going to pull the front off and have a look at that, make sure that that's clean. So I've taken the handle off now, and as we can see there's no corrosion in there, so that's good. The end of the valve spool is okay, so the problem does lie with the spring. So what we're probably going to have to do is take it all round to where the pressure washer is, and should I do this really, but just pressure wash the hell out of it and hope it frees off. Bit gooey, but never mind, eh? Put some more grease in there and hope for the best. Put some grease on here now, because as we can see that clearly is not the problem, and just nip them back up. Then we'll take it round to give it a wash and try and wash all that crap off it so we can see exactly what's happening, and then hopefully we'll be able to free it off enough to do what we need to do, get it working again. And then we'll do the same with this one, but this one is free, so it just needs a bit of preventive maintenance. It goes that way nicely. Just yeah, doesn't go the other way properly, so let's take it around there, we'll give it a wash off, give it a good WD up afterwards. We will then give this a clean out. We'll put some grease or something in here to prevent it corroding again, and yeah, hopefully get it working. So I do not recommend anybody does this, because you shouldn't really wash a hydraulic valve with a pressure washer, but I don't have a lot of choice, so I have nothing to lose. Ha. It's awkward to get into, like, but where's the corrosion's gone now? Still not moving, so I think what we need to do is take the nut off the back. I've said that it's there's not a lot between them, is there now? maybe some oiling and wiggling, it'll work. Looks like it's just not quite going the full distance, so whether that's a bit of corrosion on the end of like that bit where it's in here, because this one seems to go up and butt up, whereas this one doesn't seem to go quite all the way. So we'll see if we can take that off and have a look at that. Like I say, it is it's just that head bolt on the back there, so we'll give that a go next. So the good news is, with the bracket off the back, the spool doesn't look badly corroded or anything, and it moves in and out of full travel, the same as the other one. So that tells me the problem is corrosion between that piece and this piece. So what we'll do is we will take it to bits, get the wire wheel and stuff on it, give it a good clean up, give it a grease, put it back together, and we should be good to go. Right, we have the bolt, we have the spacer, the cap. So the bolt is all rusty, the cap's all rusty, then has a spacer on it which I've had to just free off. We have the spring, and then we have the cap that goes on the other end, which is quite a bit more substantial than the cap on the bolt head end. So you can see the problem is like corrosion on here, the corrosion on the spring, corrosion on here is not letting it go right down tight like it should do. So if I give these faces a good clean, that should give it another mil or so travel, which should be what we need to get the full movement back. So I'll give all these a clean up with a wire wheel, and I'll let you know what happens then. Giving all the bits a clean now with a wire wheel and a drill. So as you can see, they're not perfect, but they're a lot better than they were, and these surfaces now will touch and give us the amount of travel we want. So I'll grease all this up and put it back on. Okay, we're back assembled now. So we have the bolt, top hat, spacer, spring, top hat. Push the valve all the way forwards, which pushes the control valve all the way out, which means it's a bit easier for me to get the spring on. And yeah, I'll get that on and we should be good to work. And give it a little. I have now scraped the worst of the corrosion out. It's not ideal. I could do one of them little wire wheel things to go in there, like a pencil one, but I don't have one. So what I'm going to do now is smear all this in grease inside, and then do the same with the bolts and bolt it back on. Caps are back on. I don't think you can see very well down in here, but 5mm Allen key is what's needed in the ratchet. Nip them up. I don't know whose idea it was to put all these hydraulic hoses in the way, but it made getting, well, I thought this one would have been the easy one to get back together, but it was actually the worst, just because you can't get your hand in from this side to reach across to there. So that was a bit of a struggle by myself. I'll start calling myself Chris Allen, won't I? Professional struggler. You know, when you just need somebody for like 10, 15, 20 seconds to make it that much easier. Right, that's that. Backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. That will be us with 2 spool valves working. So somebody asked me, I can't remember what your name was, sorry, how I got these to work. So we all know with the Ferguson T20, what you have to do is keep the lift arms locked down to stop the control valve moving back to the fully raised neutral position, so that the pump keeps effectively pumping pressure. So what I've got is, coming off the tipping pipe, I've got my normal 1/2 inch quick release ISO coupling, which then feeds my spool block. So when there's an implement like this on the back, depending what weight is on that, it gives me enough resistance for me to open the tap, allow oil to flow through to here. I can use these controllers to work a hydraulic top link, because the resistance on the arms will always be more than the resistance to work the top link, because you're always going to have something on the arms which weighs more than the top link when you're actually using it. Same for the forklift mast. Because of the way the forklift mast holds the arms down, then it allows the service control valve to actually fill the main lift cylinder with a hydraulic oil for the actual forks to go up on the mast. What it doesn't work well for is when the resistance against the hydraulic service control valve is more than the resistance on the arms, because then what happens is the arms start to lift and things can get quite interesting. One thing it doesn't work well for at the moment, because I don't have anything to lock the arms down when it's actually working, is the hydraulic winch. And then what happens is it starts lifting the winch up out of the ground, and then it allows the tractor to pull back. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's a Ferguson T20. The hydraulics were never designed to run a service control valve. If I had the way of having a pump that fed a little tank, which then run a hydraulic pump off the engine somewhere, then that'd be ideal. But aesthetically, space for that, it's not realistically going to happen. It was never designed for that. It'd just be a nightmare. You could try and put a pump on there and then pull from like the drain plug underneath to pull hydraulic oil, suck it up to the pump and then return it back to the back end. If that's something you wanted to do, that's probably something you could do potentially, but I would only recommend that if you're running the control valves. Or you can run a PTO pump, which again, you still need the oil to come from the gearbox into the PTO pump to the control valves and back, so you may as well then just go for the engine mounted hydraulic pump and bite the bullet and run a steel tube underneath and make some sort of guard for it, just so that it doesn't get damaged. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. That's how I've got my service control valve to work again, and yeah, hopefully we can demonstrate it working. Starty. So open the valve and the link arms will drop. Service control valve should lift the arm. Close the valve, and the arms are lifted as normal again. Took fully raised position, and then they cut off. So, hope you enjoyed that little bit, and we'll see you on the next one.